Hello everyone, and welcome to Tasty Squad. I'm John, and once again, I have another review for you. Today I'll be looking at Darksiders Warmastered Edition on PS4. First things first, let's get started with the story. Now, since this is a remaster of a fairly popular game, most of you know the story already. However, I don't want to ruin the plot for those who haven't played the game yet, so I'll keep this brief. You play as War, one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Thinking he's been summoned, War rushes in the battle in Armageddon. But during the fighting, War knows something seems off, especially since the other three horsemen haven't shown up yet. While fighting the demon known as Straga, War is drained of his power and taken before the Council, a group in charge of the horsemen to ensure that Doomsday goes according to plan. However, it doesn't, and the forces of hell pretty much have domain over the earth. Heaven has closed its gates, and everyone is blaming War for prematurely starting the apocalypse. Trying to convince the Council of his innocence, War embarks on a daring quest. Find out who framed him and set things right, or die. That's pretty much the setup for the main plot of the game. Now, the story isn't bad, but it isn't very good either. It does try to throw in a couple of twists and turns, but overall it's a simple setup, and you can see the surprises coming. Again, not bad, just not groundbreaking or anything like that. However, there is quite a good voice cast, including Mark Hamill. All in all, I'd say the story is given some life by the voice talent and deserves, in my opinion, the Tasty Squad equivalent of a 7 out of 10, which is fast food, meaning, it may not be the best meal you've ever had, but it filled you up. Now let's move on to gameplay. By definition, Darksiders is an action-adventure game. Now, I know that's a very broad term given to most third-person games, ranging from sandbox to hack and slash. But Darksiders is a game where you traverse a fairly large world, and you kick ass. Imagine the dungeons of Zelda with the brutal combat of God of War. That's fucking Darksiders. Let's talk about the open world for a second. Like most open world games, as you progress through the game, you obtain either weapons, powers, or gadgets, and more of the world opens up to you as you get these items to explore other parts of it. By the end, you're able to go anywhere in the map, which you'll want to do because the world is filled with enemies to gain experience, chests to upgrade your health and magic, and maybe even a nice set of armor for you. However, don't worry about traveling the world, because it isn't that bad. By the end, you get a horse named Ruin, plus there's a fast travel option. So yeah, pretty cool. Oh, and there's plenty of great puzzles. What's an action-adventure game without puzzles? Moving on to combat, which is a big part of this game. It's the best thing the game does, and I love it. The combat in Darksiders is very hack and slashy. I don't know if hack and slashy is a real term, but that's what I'm going to use to describe it. It's very hack and slashy, and I love it. You have at your disposal 3 weapons at all times. You have War Sword, which is Chaos Eater. You have a Scythe, and later on in the game, you have the Trimmer Gauntlets. I, however, never use those damn gauntlets, because I feel like the sword and scythe combo get the job done just fine, and I only never ever used the gauntlets whenever it was necessary to break the certain type of stone. Anyway, I digress. Unlike traditional hack and slashes where you have a light attack, heavy attack, and a grab, Darksiders mixes it up a little bit. Instead of a light attack and a heavy attack, you have your main weapon attack, and then you have your secondary weapon attack. And you can mix these into combos. And that's what I really like about having the sword/scythe combo for your weapons, because you can wail on one enemy directly with the sword, and then the scythe is a good weapon to come out and clear the enemies trying to surround you. And I never messed with the gauntlets enough because I don't like being slow, and I just don't like them. Overall, Darksiders combat is phenomenal. Once you damage enemies enough, you're allowed to grab them and perform an execution style move, which are brutally fantastic. My favorite one is when War throws down one of the angel guards and with his giant ass fist just keeps punching in their chest till it just caves in a bloody mess, and I love it. Now the bosses are kind of hit and miss. There's two types of bosses in this game. There's the main bosses, which are the big baddies of the game, and then there's the mini bosses. And I honestly prefer the mini bosses because, you know, the main baddie, big badass bosses don't really feel that powerful. I never died on one more than 3 times. Some I didn't even die at all. And that's because they fall into that old school cliche where you just expose their weak points 3 times and you hit it and they're done. It's more of a figuring out the puzzle, but once you figure out what to do, they're easy as hell to beat. However, the mini bosses are more of a test of skill, especially if they're surrounded by a group of smaller enemies, because you're trying to fight this big baddie that can rip your asshole inside out in about 2 hits, and you're trying to fend off all his little minions. So I actually prefer the mini bosses. They actually feel more like bosses than the bosses do. But all in all, Darksiders combat is wonderful. It is the best aspect of the game, and I just love it. Now let's move on to the upgrades. As you progress through the game, killing enemies will give you blue souls, which you can use to purchase or upgrade weapon skills and buy items like health and magic potions. While playing the game, the more you use a certain weapon, the stronger it becomes. I tried to balance this out amongst the sword and the scythe, but I always ended up using the sword more. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there that have a perfect balance between all 3 weapons. I just, however, didn't do it because I didn't feel like going back and doing the grind forever. But it can be done. I'm just lazy. Each weapon also can be given enhancements, which are special perks which you can assign to any weapon. You can take them off at any time and change them out to whichever weapon you want. Things like this weapon does more damage, this weapon gets souls from destroying environmental objects, this weapon upgrades faster, things like that. And you can add that throughout the game. And again, you can add them whenever you want. There's no select time or whatever. You just pause the game, switch them out, and it does it right there, which is cool because each enhancement also has a different effect and makes the weapon look a little different. So whenever you add one to the sword, which you always see because it's on your back, it'll glow a different color and stuff like that, and it's really a little unique, and I like it. Darksiders upgrade system is fairly unique, not crazy, not revolutionary, but nice. It works and I like it. Fun factor: Darksiders is one hell of a thrill ride of a game. I truly did not want to put it down. I didn't want to put it down in my original playthrough 4 years ago, and I didn't want to put it down now. The only thing that slightly diminished the fun sometimes was the weird glitch of when it was in a cutscene, it would just immediately hop back to gameplay, but the dialogue of the cutscene would still be playing. But you know, even that aside, still had a great time with the game. It is so much fun, from the combat to the open world to the puzzles, this feels like a game. And nowadays market seems to be missing the charm of games like this, and I really miss games like this. The day I got it, I played it for like 7 hours straight. I don't even remember the last time I played that long, unless I was playing something online with friends. And it's truly just it was a great refreshment. It was so enjoyable to go back into this world, and I would recommend this to anyone any day. If you haven't already, go get Darksiders right fucking now. Which brings us to the final score for Darksiders Warmastered Edition, which is the Tasty Squad equivalent of 8 out of 10, which is appetizing. A great meal, filled me up, tasted good, not perfect, but glad I ate it. It's really a great game, and I had so much fun being back in this world and kicking ass at war. I'd say this game makes my top 10 greatest games of all time list. For me personally, it's definitely in there. This game definitely has a special place in my heart, and I love it. But anyway, I digress. As you can tell throughout this review, I love Darksiders, obviously, but I'm not gonna do Darksiders 2. Because I don't like Darksiders 2. I thought it was a huge disappointment after this game, the first game, which is such a strong, amazing game. I'll only do Darksiders 2 if you, the Tasty fans, truly demand it of me. If that's the case, I will do it. But as of right now, on my own decision, I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry to upset anyone. if, let's say, 10 people comment in the comment section asking me for Darksiders 2, I will go out, I will spend my own money, and I will play through Darksiders 2 and do a review of it. If not, I'm sorry, I'm not going to touch it because I did not enjoy it. That being said, guys, thank you so much for coming back to Tasty Squad and sitting here for however long this video was, listening to me review a game. I'm John. Thank you so much for watching. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Hit that thumbs down if you didn't, and leave us a comment below. Let us know how we can improve, because we're always trying to improve here at Tasty Squad. Again, thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay tasty.